I had survived 100 days of hardcore Minecraft and slain the dragon that ruled the end. But now, in 200 days, far greater foes would await. Here we are in day 101. I had a lot of plans these 100 days and they started with getting a creeper farm built. For that I would need cats, so I headed off to a nearby village hoping that they had some. I searched for a while and had almost given up hope and I finally found one. In case you're wondering where all the villagers are, they're all dead. Good job guys. I headed all the way home and realised that my new cat wasn't with me. I'm pretty sure it's because I swam across this lake, meaning that it couldn't teleport to me. After going back and retrieving it, I bred it with Moon in order to get the second cat for the creeper farm. Day 102, I began clearing out this area in order to make space for my creeper farm. I heard the groans of zombies and quickly realised that this place had tons of caves underneath it which would stop the creeper farm from working. I chose this spot and started construction. Day 103 I continued building the farm. The whole ceiling has to be covered in trapdoors in order for it to work, which is going to cost me a ton of wood. Day 104 the kitten had grown up, so I transported him and his father into the creeper farm. They're going to be in there for a long time. I ran out of trapdoors and didn't have any more wood, so I had to go out and chop trees. By the end of the day the farm was complete. Day 105 I realised I built one section of the farm too short and had to extend it. Once that was done I built up in order to AFK the farm for a while. After AFKing for the entire day I dug down, checked the chest and what? 4 gunpowder. I realised the cave system I found earlier most likely extended onto my base and all the monsters spawning there were most likely stopping the creeper farm from working. I took my frustration out on some nearby zombies. Day 106 I did some pumpkin farming to take my mind off the failed creeper farm. Upon entering the villager hall I saw he had an unwanted guest. Not only had he bashed the door down, he picked it up and was now using it as a weapon. After doing some trading I knew what I wanted to do and that was crash the economy. But first I would need slime and for that I would need to find a swamp biome. I used all the gunpowder I had to craft rockets and from there set out on my elytra to find a swamp. After a few minutes searching I found one and a ruined portal. You're probably wondering why I need slime and it's because I'm going to use sticky pistons for my new villager trading hall. After a whole night of searching for slimes I only managed to get 8 slime balls and I needed 20. So day 107 I went mining in a ravine that I found in the swamp. My elytra was pretty damaged because I didn't have unbreaking or mending on it, meaning I couldn't leave here and return at night. I would have to wait it out until night fell so I could try again with the slimes. I found an abandoned mineshaft and decided to explore and I got the jump scare of my life when I turned around from mining iron and found a creeper staring me in the face. After my heart recovered from that experience I explored more and ended up finding a name tag. I decided to return to the surface to see if night fell and it had, so I spent the whole night searching for slimes. I only ended up finding one and it gave me 1 slime ball. Day 108 I had had enough of the swamp and decided to just build a smaller version of the villager hall with the limited slime I had. After arriving home I instantly added mending to my elytra because it was nearly broken. I was able to fix it by buying some bottles of enchanting off one of my villagers which provides enough XP to nearly fully repair it. I then spent the rest of the night farming. Day 109 I started work on the new trading hall. It looks terrible right now but trust me it gets better. The design is from Logical Geek Boy. I'll link the video in the description if you want to try it out for yourself. I stayed up instead of sleeping because I needed to get a zombie in the back of the hall. I had to give him a name tag so he wouldn't despawn and I ended up naming him Gideon. I have no idea why, I just chose it at random. Day 110 I'm still working on the hall. The way it works is that a villager will come along this walkway and head into one of the gaps. Once they fall down, the piston closes above their head. I can also flick a lever and drop them down into Gideon where he'll turn them into a zombie villager. The reason for this and why I can crash the economy is because curing a zombie villager will result in them giving you insanely good trades. Day 111 I finished the minecart system for the trading hall and decided that the first villager I would try out on was my mending librarian. After a bit of encouragement he headed into his slot in the hall. I quickly set about getting both my farmers in there as well and then headed back to the swamp to gather the remaining slime. Unfortunately I got lost trying to find it, but this was actually a blessing in disguise. I found a dark oak forest and not only is dark oak one of my favourite wood types, the forest had tons of these brown mushrooms which are required to make fermented spider eyes. Fermented spider eyes are required in order to brew weakness potions to kill zombie villagers. After getting all the mushrooms I would need I spent the rest of the night fighting monsters in order to gain experience. Day 112 I gathered a ton of dark oak before heading back home. I brewed some weakness potions because I was going to be zombifying my villagers. After dropping my librarian down he was turned into a zombie by Gideon, but then he caught fire which was not part of the plan. It's because neither the stairs above nor the fences are solid blocks, meaning there was nothing protecting the zombie villager from the sunlight. You're far too useful to be burned into a crisp, so please wear sun cream next time. After starting his cure I began work on a new walkway for the villagers which should hopefully protect the zombie ones this time. I also zombified and started to kill my father. The librarian finally cured and now I can buy mending for just 1 emerald. With the second farmer zombified and cured I farm my pumpkins then heads off to bed, happy with the progress I've made. As I headed back to the trading hall on day 113 I realised several things had gone wrong. The stair hadn't been taken by the piston for some reason, exposing this farmer to the sunlight and causing him to die. More importantly though, the librarian that I had just cured now somehow been infected again. After curing this librarian for the second time I bought all the mending books I would ever need. Day 114 I'm expanding the villager breeder. This base needs more workers and we need them now. I started moving this small hill back because it was in the way of where I wanted to expand the trading hall. I spent the rest of the day building the hall and adding a second side. Day 115, I continued building the trading hall. Checked the villager breeder and they made tons of children. I'm proud of you guys. Grabbed some sand to turn to glass because I was going to be changing the walkway. I changed the walkway to dark oak planks with some blue stained glass paint and I think it turned out quite well. Day 116, I'm building the second half of the hall. Even though I don't have the resources for it to be functional, it'll be ready for when I do. Finished off with some trading. Overall, it was a good day. Day 117, I was mirroring the rail system on the other side of the hall. I'm not fully sure how it works, but the minecart gets broken by the cactus and deposited into the chest by the hopper, which saves me having to do it all manually. For the rest of the day, I chopped wood in the nearby village. I didn't want to make a huge dent in the trees near my house, so I decided to do it here instead. Seeing as the majority of the population died to zombies, I'm sure they won't mind. On day 118, after gathering some more wood, I headed back. Oh god. Oh no. No. I ended up finding a villager with this sheep in this wooden flower bed thing, and all I could say is I definitely need to call the police, you poor creature. Anyway, after being reminded of something I really wanted to forget, I started building the exterior of the villager hall. Day 119, I spent the whole day working on the hall. There's a lot of work I have to do, but I think it's going to turn out well. Day 120, I added this stripped oak and spruce floor and built a decent looking entrance. Progress was slow, but we're getting there. Day 121 was me mirroring the design on one side onto the other. I decided to take a break from all the building by going mining for ancient debris. After over 100 days, I definitely should be in netherite armor. Throughout days 121 to 122, I exploded tons of beds in the search for debris. My luck was pretty good and I was able to find 16 pieces, enough for 4 netherite ingots. As I was on my way back, this hoglin knocked me into lava. After I killed him, his friend showed up and history did not repeat itself as he fell into the lava instead. It was exactly what he deserved. Day 123, I started like many other days farming pumpkins. After selling them off, I had enough XP to combine my sword with one that I found in an end city. For some reason though, I forgot to add mending to either sword before I combined them, meaning it's going to cost a ton of levels to add mending now. As I dived into the lake to get more sand to turn to glass, I found this iron golem just chilling here. No idea why he's choosing to live in a river, but whatever, have fun I guess. Don't blame me if you go rusty. I headed off to the nearby village to ruin another part of the wildlife. This time it was the lake. I'd shoveled most of the sand out of my own, so I borrowed theirs. I had so much sand I crafted more furnaces to keep up with production. Day 124, I started building the back of the trading hall. I also moved the small hill back some more, but my shovel's durability was getting dangerously low. My ancient debris had smelted, so I crafted it all into ingots, and wow, look how much gold I have. I only changed my sword to netherite because I plan to upgrade the rest of my gear's enchantments by combining it with other diamond gear I'd found in the end cities. I spent the rest of the day finishing off the design for the back of the hall and crafted a ton of light blue stained glass for the roof. Day 125, I started building the frame for the roof. I was only able to get 2 of the 3 rings done because they were pretty time consuming to build. I added in a bunch of the glass and finally the hall was starting to take shape. Day 126, I returned to ruining the wildlife. I needed both more glass and wood. I worked through a night to get the final ring done. Day 127, I added some extra detail because I felt there was something missing. I added the rest of the glass and now the hall is nearly complete. I was really happy with how it was turning out. Day 128, I used up all my glass filling in the roof. Don't worry, this is the final environmental disaster caused by me, at least for a while. While my glass was smelting, I dug a tunnel from the hall to my villager breeder so I could start transporting villagers. When I emerged in the breeder, I realized a huge issue. An iron golem had spawned inside, meaning if I accidentally hit a villager while trying to do anything in here, then I'm basically dead to this thing. I'll deal with it later, I have better things to do. Day 129, I finished the outside of the hall, which was insanely satisfying. I then started laying down the track for the minecart. I spent the night repeatedly waking this guy up to ask if he was interested in a job. He said no and went back to his bed multiple times, but like an annoying scam caller, I was persistent. He didn't run eagerly to his job station like the other villagers had, so I had to do some convincing. He also wanted straight potatoes and carrots, which is unacceptable. Unfortunately, after breaking and replacing the composter, he didn't become a farmer again. I'll figure it out in the morning. Day 130, I realized the issue was that he was picking up the nearby composter instead of the one in front of him. After fixing that issue, he gave me the trade that I wanted, which was wheat. I told Gideon to say hi, and then the new farmer caught fire. I realized the glass roof of the hall meant I was going to need to make some changes to the walkway in order to stop the zombie villagers from burning. I'm going to have to add that to the sort that out later list. I started work on a path to the villager hall. At the end of the day, I checked back on my farm and he finished curing. To my dismay, after leveling up, he offered pumpkin pie and apples instead of wanting to buy pumpkins. For some reason, I then leveled him up to master to see if he'd buy pumpkins. This was pointless. Farmers can only offer to buy pumpkins at the journeyman level. In order to get rid of the villager, I first had Gideon infect him again. This meant I could kill the villager without the other 2 getting mad. Should have known something was up when you wanted to buy carrots. Day 131, I went to brew more wheatness potions and realized I had no blaze powder left to fuel the brewing stand. That was a big problem, but it's also going on the I'll fix that later list. For now, I set my mind to replacing the farmer. Got one in and farmed wheat to sell to him. And of course, he also wanted to sell pumpkin pie and apples. Nothing personal, bro. At first, I spent the night hunting creepers in order to get gunpowder for fireworks, and then decided I wanted to try and get a music disc. Just in case you don't know how to get one, it's when a skeleton kills a creeper. After getting shot with an entire quiver's worth of arrows, I was able to get the disc. I stayed up all night fighting monsters because I wanted more XP. Day 132, I set out to find a new swamp because that old one was trash. I got some dark oak wood along the way and found a couple villagers. I needed XP to fix my elytra, so I stole all their food and sold it back to them for XP. I spent the night hunting for slimes, and having looting on my sword made my life so much easier. I was able to gather all the slime I needed. As I was heading back to my base on day 133, I spotted these hills covered in flowers and decided to grab some to use as decoration. Once I got home, I used one as dye for a shulker, which I would use as my emerald shulker. As you can see, it's already looking pretty good. I put all that new dark oak that I gathered to good use building the roof of the walkway. I realized I've forgotten to add trapdoors to the section of the zombie tunnel and went to fix it. Gideon, please move. Now you're on fire. Now I'm on fire. It didn't have to end this way, Gideon. I added in the remaining sticky pistons, and now one side of the hall is nearly complete, minus a zombie. I'm pretty sure I was playing at 3 AM or something because I was trying to put my elytra on and somehow ended up trying to place wood planks on my head. I needed to find a replacement for Gideon, and it didn't take too long to find one. Listen, it's a simple job. All you need to do is not burst into flames. As the sun rose on day 134, I continued to build the roof of the walkways. I added the final touch to the other side of the village hall and then tried for the 3rd time to get a farmer who would buy pumpkins. I had to farm wheat as I didn't have enough to sell to him in order to level him up, but it was well worth it because he actually did want to buy pumpkins. I then headed home to brew weakness potions in order to convince him 1 pumpkin per emerald is a great deal, before remembering I had no blaze powder left. I guess it's time to return to the nether. Returning to the nether fortress was so much easier with the elytra, and once I was there, I killed blazes for a good 10 minutes. Thanks to my looting 3, I was able to get over 50 blaze rods. Day 135 I was returning from the nether when I found this ruined portal submerged in lava. For some reason I tried to land on it before realizing that was a terrible idea and instead bridged over. These 2 gold blocks are going to come in useful. After getting lost a few times, I was able to make it back to my portal, and I spent the night trying to find a second zombie for the villager trading hall. Day 136 I was looking at my options for enchanting. I wanted to add this fortune book to my pickaxe to get fortune 3, but I was also tempted by the power 4 bow enchantment. In the end I just put mending on my leggings because they were getting low on durability. Now that I had more weakness potions, I got straight to infecting the second farmer. 2 is good, but how about a 3rd? I once again had to farm wheat because I didn't have enough to level him up. While farming, I heard the sound of creepers dying and went to check on my creeper farm. It had actually produced nearly a stack of gunpowder because I just left it running since I built on day 105. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Even with just a few villagers, you can see how effective this hall was becoming. As night fell, I dug a new minecart tunnel to connect the other side of the hall. Because of the trading I'd done, my leggings were now fully repaired and I decided to convert them to netherite. I went back to work building the tunnel and was able to complete it. It's day 137. If you think I'm stopping at 3 farmers, you're mistaken. Already I was starting to get tons of emeralds and XP from the villagers. Oh, we definitely need more farmers. Just look at these profits. Trading with the villagers had taken me to over level 30, so I started trying to enchant a second helmet to combine with my current one. I wanted respiration, but even after resetting the enchantment table a couple of times, I wasn't having any luck. I ended up going for aqua affinity and decided to try again for respiration later. We're starting off day 138 with profits. I added some extra detail to the roof of the hall and then went off to farm pumpkins. I mean, I might as well be looking at a valley of money. I headed down into the mines in search of gold because I'd used up every piece I had on golden apples to kill the villagers. I didn't find tons, but on day 139 I found diamonds and gold right next to each other. My fortune enchantment was pretty good and I was able to get 9 diamonds from 6 ores. I returned to the surface and visited my XP farm. Sorry, I mean villagers. I was once again over level 30, so I tried to get depth stride on a pair of boots, but unfortunately my luck wasn't there and I ended up not getting it. Day 140 I was going to be clearing out these 2 shulkers full of random junk that slowly built up as I built the villager hall. Once that was done, I made tons of emeralds. The emerald shulker's looking good. I once again tried for depth strider, but the enchantment table wasn't cooperating. I farmed pumpkins because I wanted to get enough XP to retry for depth strider. After some trading with the villagers, it was time to visit the enchantment table again. After resetting the enchants several times, I finally didn't get depth strider. Yeah, I was pretty mad. Day 141 I started working on a new sugarcane farm. My old one was too small and I was going to need way more sugarcane for both rockets and trading. Let's hope I built this one correctly. Good news, I think I built this one correctly. However, after doing some testing, I realized the collection system wasn't working even though I built it exactly the same as the one in the tutorial. I spent the whole night trying to make it work and couldn't, and to top it all off, a creeper arrived and tried to blow it all up. Day 142 I was determined to make the sugarcane farm work. After watching some tutorials, I tried with this collection system and it works! It actually works! I finished off the day by watching the creepers in the farm. After the amount of times they tried to kill me, this was very satisfying. Of course, I also traded with my villagers. Day 143 my luck had definitely taken a turn for the better because I was able to get depth strider. However, combining these boots with my current ones was going to cost me an entire 36 levels. I built the other side of the new sugarcane farm and started decorating. The wandering trader showed up and of course was able to annoy me with just his mere existence. Get your llamas out my sugarcane farm. I warned you. After that minor headache, I finished the main body of the farm. Day 144 I worked on the roof of the farm. It took all day because I went through several designs. I also had to defend my property from some unwanted guests. When I arrived in the villager hall with my inventory stuffed full of pumpkins, I realized this farmer had somehow become a zombie again. You're valuable, so you'll be cured. Day 145 I decided to see what enchantments I could get on this book. I was offered on breaking, which I immediately took because I needed it for my elytra. Now it's perfect. I returned to the mines, this time in search of granite. Do you hear that? The sound of profits. I continued into the night building this roof. As I checked it from a distance, I was reminded that my creeper farm was still just a huge cobblestone box. It's day 146, and where else would I be in the morning except making money? I was a decent level again and was searching for more enchantments for my boots. Got a pair of depth strider ones that was slightly better than the ones I previously got and combined them with mending. It's going to be expensive to put these two together, but I'll pretty much have the best boots in the game. I made myself nearly 4 stacks of torches because I decided it was time to get my creeper farm up and running. And to do that, I was going to need to light up all the caves under my base. I made some decent progress, but there's still much more to be done. After trading with the villagers, I spent day 147 searching for as many caves as possible. I found an abandoned mine shaft which was definitely causing problems for the creeper farm. I mined tons of iron, even got a power 3 bow from skeleton. When I emerged from the caves, it was day 148. I mean, are you really surprised about what I did next? I finally had enough levels to combine my boots together, and now that they were almost perfect, I converted them to netherite. At this point, I had so many emeralds that I started converting them into emerald blocks. I was able to craft 2 stacks of emerald blocks. This trading hall is insane. I added mending to my axe and renamed it to the pumpkin destroyer because I used this thing for pumpkins so much more than actually chopping wood. I also repaired my shovel with 3 diamonds for some reason. Not sure why I didn't just put mending on it. I put the pumpkin destroyer to good use by destroying some pumpkins and then made profits. Day 149, I wanted to test the effectiveness of the creeper farm now that I'd lit up all those caves. I AFK'd for almost the whole day and I was pretty nervous as to whether the farm would actually work or not. I'm pleased to say that it definitely did work. For the rest of the day, I did as I always do, turning pumpkins into emeralds. I finally had enough XP to combine my efficiency 4 diamond pickaxe with one that I'd obtained for an entity. I also started a new shulker for my key resources like iron and coal. Day 150, I started work on a staircase down to my pumpkin farm. It's kind of crazy that I haven't built this earlier. I also created a path to the old villager hall. I definitely needed to repurpose it into something useful, but for now it's just going to stay there. I finished off with some farming and trading. Day 151, I'm using all those flowers I gathered earlier to decorate the landscape. After farming my crops, I realized that I definitely needed to build a new disposal system. Chucking stuff into this lava pit is time consuming. Of course, I traded with the villagers. It's basically a life requirement for me. I'd also made my mind up about the fortune and power book and decided to use the fortune enchantment. Now that my pickaxe was perfect, I converted it to netherite. Day 152, I headed to the nether, this time in search of a bastion. They have tons of gold which I desperately needed because I've run out, having used all mine on golden apples. My elytra allowed me to search insanely quickly through another and I found one in no time. I had to be extremely careful because bastions are inhabited by the insanely strong piglin brutes. All the way at the bottom of here lay tons of gold blocks and loot. I'd forgotten to bring a bow which would allow me to safely kill the brutes from a distance, so I decided in the end it was too dangerous and backed off. However, I decided to steal this gold block. Mining gold near piglins makes them angry, but I thought if they couldn't see me do it, I'd be safe. I was wrong. I realized my lifespan was about to become considerably shorter if I didn't get out of the bastion in time. As I left, I found this ruined portal and it had a gold block and even some golden carrots. Upon returning to the bastion to record its coordinates, I realized these stupid piglins kept half their gold on the outside the bastion completely unprotected. Wouldn't it be a shame if someone stole it all? As I headed back through another, I single-handedly did the dumbest thing I've ever done in this hardcore world. I decided to fly through this tiny gap over a lake of lava. If I had made one mistake here, I would have crashed into the side of the roof, fallen in the lava and burnt to death. After that, I decided to make the rest of the journey on foot. It was day 153 by the time I returned home and got straight to making gold. I've mined a ton of ore in the nether and also had the gold blocks in the bastion and was able to make over 2 stacks of ingots. Of course, I then went to farm pumpkins. Day 154, I used some of my newly acquired wealth to craft more golden apples. Now that they have been resupplied, I can continue infecting and curing zombie villagers. I spent the night adding in sticky pistons to the other side of the hall because I found some spare slime. Day 155, I was going to be getting a new librarian because I realized I was missing the thorns enchantment from my armor. By some miracle, we started selling thorns after only a couple of resets. Bought one book off him to lock in the trade, and then you know what comes next. Did someone say profits? I think someone said profits. Now that I was high enough level, I tried to get respiration on a helmet and got it first try. Now my armor's starting to look good. I wanted to add thorns to my boots, but it's going to cost me an absolutely insane 39 levels. Day 156, the villager cured and was basically now giving me thorns for free. I harvested my crops and also infected the final farmer. I had enough emeralds to make yet another stack of emerald blocks. I had also run out of villagers on the breeder, so I had to fix that. For the rest of the day, I started building a path around my wheat field. Day 157, I continued work on the path. I ran out of wood and had to go chop more. Day 158, we're once again starting off with pumpkin farming. I then set about getting my cleric in the villager hall because he sells bottles of enchanting which are literally pure XP. Unfortunately, I forgot to place down a brewing stand for him to go to, which meant he instead ran away screaming because of the zombies. You'll be fine, just ask the others. Right, guys? Guys? Anyway, day 159, I bought a couple of thorns books from my librarian and the cleric finished curing. Now I can basically buy XP for 1 emerald. Although to be honest, I get way more just selling pumpkins. I added thorns to both my leggings and helmet, but unfortunately forgot that the max level of thorns is 3, not 2, which means if I want to upgrade this armor to thorns 3, it's going to cost me so many levels. I crafted a ton of beds because I didn't have any netherite for my helmet, which meant I was going to have to go mining. My luck wasn't great, and after using all my beds, I had 8 debris. I had 2 spare pieces at home, so if I could find 2 more, I'd have enough for 3 ingots. For most of day 160, I carved out massive chunks of netherrack in the search for ancient debris. After probably thousands of netherite, I found what I was looking for. Day 161, I did a ton of trading in order to gain XP, and then converted my helmet to netherite, completing my set of netherite armor. I should have gone for full netherite a lot sooner, but I'm glad it's finally done. Day 162, I began the search for a pillager outpost. I wanted a totem of undying, which you can get from killing the evokers that spawn in raids. On my travels, I find a desert temple and decide to explore. Now what do I see in the very first chest? A god apple. They're literally one of the rarest items in the game, and I couldn't believe my luck. My luck continued as I found a ruin portal and a village nearby. The village had melons which I had wanted for a while, so I stole them. I wanted to restore the ruin portal in order to have easy access to this village in the future, but I didn't have any iron for a flint and steel. Hey look, iron on legs. I was barely 300 blocks away from my home portal in another, which would make getting back to this village insanely easy. Day 163, I continued the search for an outpost. I found another temple, and this one had 2 regular golden apples. I found so many structures during my search, including ruin portals, an igloo, tons of villages, a shipwreck, and even an ocean ruins. On day 164, after a ton of searching, I found an outpost and got straight to killing all the inhabitants. I killed not 1 but 2 pillager captains in order to get the bad omen 2 effect. Day 165, I made a quick nether portal so I could have easy access to the pillager outpost whenever I wanted. Now that I had the bad omen effect, all I need to do is find a random village to start the raid. Sorry guys, but you're probably all gonna die. The raid began, and I just want to say that starting a raid on hardcore with an almost broken bow was a terrible idea. A bow is your best friend for dealing with the powerful raid mobs, especially the ravagers. The raid went on through the night because there were a ton of waves. I had to spend pretty much all of day 166 searching for the final raider of this wave. I searched everywhere and somehow couldn't find him. As the night fell, I finally discovered where he was. Somehow he had spawned in this 1 block gap between the tree and the hill and was of course completely stuck. The raid continued on through the night, and I'm just saying now that I hate the Vex. I mean, this one even spawned with a fire aspect sword. Unfortunately, after defeating tons of waves, I was once again stuck with 1 raider left. Day 167, I searched everywhere for the final raider. Every single block of this village was checked, but I couldn't find him. The raid literally disappeared because I didn't clear the wave within the time limit. After this, I just stared out at the river for a while, contemplating how I had stayed up till 2 AM fighting the raid and wasn't able to complete it. It was a very depressing flight home. Luckily, I had enough levels to add many to my helmet because it had taken a beating from the raid. I may not have completed the raid, but at least I had these totems now. Day 168, I farmed pumpkins and felt better. You can see just how powerful this haul is now because I was able to go from level 3 to level 22 from just trading a few stacks of pumpkins. I was able to combine a bunch of bows together to get power 4. I did some more farming and resin wanted to make an auto composter. Unlike the last time I tried to make one of these, I actually built it correctly. Now I can start getting rid of the stacks upon stacks of seeds that are clogging my storage. Day 169, I headed down to the mines to get some lava because I'm going to be building a proper garbage disposal system. It's really simple to build, and now I can put items in the chest, and once the chest closes they get chucked into lava. I finished the day by farming pumpkins. To be honest, I should probably rename this video to 200 days in Minecraft pumpkin mode. Day 170, I gathered a bunch of wood because I'm going to be adding another layer to the creeper farm, and for that I need tons of trapdoors. It's day 171, and what's that? The 4 stack of emerald blocks? Am I turning into Mr. Krabs? I returned to the village to see if there were any cats left, but unfortunately there weren't. I'm pretty sure this guy is the only surviving villager. I had to check my footage of the first couple of days because I couldn't remember which cat was in the farm, and I obviously didn't want to breed Moon with the wrong one. I'm sorry, little one. You're going to be here for a while. Day 172, I continued to increase the cat population. I kept building the farm and finished off all the trapdoors. Now this giant cobblestone box is an even worse looking giant cobblestone box. As Einstein once said, pumpkin equals emerald equals rich. Day 173, I enchanted a new diamond axe to combine with the pumpkin destroyer and also started trying to get smite 4 on the sword. I wanted to fight the wither by the end of the 200 days, and to do that I was going to need a strong smite weapon. Of course, I had my usual enchanting luck with the sword. I combined the pumpkin destroyer with the new axe to create the pumpkin warlord. I also converted this thing into netherite, and it's a beast. After all that enchanting, I built up in order to AFK the new creeper farm. I AFK'd for most of the day and got a decent amount of gunpowder. Day 174, I decided to test out my new bow. It works. I started this small cactus farm because I wanted some green dye. I then went searching for dark oak because I was finally going to change how the creeper farm looked. I didn't realize at first while flying over, but that's a pig sheep. After gathering all the dark oak I would need, I headed back and this time spotted the sheep. I've definitely got to take it back to my base, but that's a 300 days project. As the sun set, I used a new pumpkin warlord to farm my pumpkins quicker than ever before. And of course, I made profits. Day 175, it's finally time to fix this ugly cobblestone behemoth. I honestly just pillared up and stared at it for a few minutes because I had no idea how to make it look good. I finally had an idea and started building the frame. I went for this stripped dark oak design. It already looks 10 times better than before. Day 176, I built this wooden walkway up to the roof of the creeper farm. I think I'll build something up here, but that's also going to have to be for 300 days. I added this spruce trim, and while it's not perfect, it definitely looks so much better than just a blob of cobblestone. Day 177, I had an idea for the creeper farm decoration, and it involves vines. I must have sold off a mountain of pumpkins by now. The reason for the vines was that I wanted to craft mossy cobblestone. I thought adding a more ancient look to the farm would give it some depth. I also used some andesite and leaves for extra detail. Overall, it was a nice little project that I'm happy with. I know I haven't done one of these in a while, but it's moon appreciation time. Day 178, I grabbed some more leaves to finish off the creeper farm. After some villager trading, I tried again to get a smite 4 sword. Of course, I was once again unsuccessful, but now I'm returning to the nether again. It was time to gather wither skulls. I already had one from the first 100 days, so I only need to get 2 more. Unfortunately, the nether fortress I always go to is the worst possible place to wither skull farming because it's right on a warp forest biome, which means most of the monster spawns get taken up by endermen. As I entered the fortress, I found some chests that I somehow hadn't found yet and ended up getting a diamond. While I was fighting with the skeletons, this one jump scared me so bad that I lost my grip on my mouse, bashed my hand on my keyboard, and half the keys fell off. It was not a fun experience for my hand or my keyboard. On day 179, the first skull dropped. I guess Minecraft was feeling sorry for me because I got the second one only 5 minutes later. After returning home, I placed the 2 skulls with the one on my dragon egg monument. I'm not gonna lie, this thing was pretty weird. I was over level 30 from all the monsters I killed, so tried again for smite 4. Still nothing, and if I hadn't been paying attention, I would have accidentally disenchanted my bow. Day 180, I started brewing a bunch of potions in preparation for the wither fight. I'm gonna be fighting it on day 200 because that seems like a pretty good finale. After a visit to the money machine, I was back to high level and tried again for smite 4. Guess what? Didn't get it. As you can see, my potion supply was pretty stacked. I wasn't planning on taking any chances against the wither. After a lot of second guessing myself, I decided to build one of the most dangerous farms in Minecraft, an enderman XP farm. It's incredibly risky to build, especially in hardcore, but I needed that smite enchantment and this would be the fastest way to get it. The farm requires over 20 stacks of solid blocks to build, so I started on another environmental disaster. I carved through the trees of the pumpkin warlord and this is what I returned with. Day 181, I spent the whole day gathering everything I would need to build the farm, including carpets, hoppers, lava, and a name tag. Minecraft really did not want me getting smite 4 because I tried probably the 4th time and still didn't get it. As I flew towards the stronghold on day 182, I felt uneasy. I could very easily lose my entire world building this farm. After heading to the end, I had to create this cobblestone pillar all the way to Y level 0 and then swim down the water to place leaves on the final block. Below this is the deepest, darkest void which will kill you in just 2.5 seconds. I've done a lot of stuff on Minecraft, but this was easily the scariest thing I've ever had to do. Once I created a ladder up the cobblestone pillar, I then had to bridge out at least 120 blocks from the end island using leaves. The reason for the leaves instead of any other block is that endermen actually can't spawn on them. I can't tell you guys how hard my finger was glued to the shift key. If I stopped crouching, it would all be over. Once I bridged out far enough, I started work on the farm. After the first 2 rings were complete, I had to build up in this way until I hit Y level 44. Day 183, I reached Y 44 and started building the platform where all the endermen would spawn. Because I was so far out from the end island, this platform was the only place endermen could spawn and they immediately started appearing. It doesn't look too bad right now, but trust me, it gets terrifying. With 3/4 of the platform done, you can tell just how many endermen there are. Now that the platform was built, I had to get an endermite, and here as well, you can just see the insane numbers of endermen. The reason for an endermite is because endermen go psycho when they see one and try to kill it, so you can use the endermites to trick the enderman into running straight down a huge hole like the one I've just built. Endermite have a 1 in 20 chance to spawn when using an ender pearl, so I brought nearly 40 pearls with me just to be sure. It was a good job that I brought all those pearls because an endermite spawned after my final pearl. After giving it a name tag so it wouldn't despawn, the farm was pretty much complete. As I broke the temporary dirt I placed, I actually fell down the entire shaft, but I only lost half my health because of the feather falling. And now the XP came rolling in. I'm not kidding when I say I literally sat here for the next hour and just killed endermen. By day 187, I was level 91, had enough ender pearls to fill an ocean. I returned home and unfortunately couldn't perfect my helmet with Thorns 3 because the game literally wouldn't let me add the book to my helmet. After adding Thorns 3 to my chestplate, I returned to the enchantment table to get that smite 4 sword. I went through tons of enchantments, but there it was, and it was even better than I'd hoped because it was smite 5. I headed to the villager hall and bought a bunch of Thorns books as well as 2 knockback books. Unfortunately, I was also prevented from adding Thorns 3 to my boots. I could just about scrape Thorns 2, but it was going to cost a lot. However, I was able to add Thorns 3 to my leggings. I combined the 2 knockback books together and set my sights to creating the best smite sword in the game. Day 188, after the stressful experience of building the enderman farm, some peaceful pumpkin farming was exactly what I needed. The 5th stack of emerald blocks is coming along nicely. I needed the fire aspect enchantment not only for my sword but also for my main sword, so I got to work getting a new librarian. It took a few tries, but he started selling fire aspect. I wanted a discount though, so I turned him into a zombie. Like an idiot, I'd forgotten to trade with him first, which meant that his trades weren't locked and he wouldn't sell fire aspect when he was cured. Well, this is awkward. Day 189, I tried again with fire aspect. This time I actually remembered to trade with the villager before infecting him. I combined the fire aspect book with mending and tried to add it to my sword, but of course it was extremely expensive. Day 190, I bought another fire aspect book for my librarian for the smite sword and then crafted more emerald blocks. In 300 days, I want to have a whole shulker filled with nothing but stacks of emerald blocks. Wow, I am really starting to sound like Mr. Krabs. I crafted another diamond sword to see if I could pick up some enchantments that I needed. I got sweeping edge, which was perfect. I added a bunch of enchantments to the smite sword and it's nearing perfection. Day 191, I only needed 1 more enchantment for my new sword and that was looting 3. I set out on a mission to get it from a librarian and it sucked. Like, it seriously sucked. I spent the entire day just breaking and replacing a lectern and this guy still wouldn't sell me the book. All the while I was doing this, I had to listen to the villagers and zombies and it's safe to say my eardrums will never be the same. Late into the night, he offered efficiency 5 and I was so close to taking it. After all, I could just get a new librarian tomorrow for looting 3. I even dropped him down for the zombie and got the weakness potion ready. But then I changed my mind. Out of sheer stubbornness, I decided no. This guy was going to sell me looting 3 whatever it took. After countless tries, he finally finally sold looting 3. Of course, if he thought I was going to buy it at 44 emeralds, he was mistaken. I bought a bookshelf to lock his trades and then began the forced discount. Now it's day 192 and cheers, I'll be taking that looting 3 for 19 emeralds. After combining the sweeping edge sword with looting, all that stood in the way of me getting the best smite sword was 32 levels. I returned to the enderman farm in order to get them. Unfortunately, as I was throwing countless ender pearls into the void, I ended up throwing in a tome of undying. I returned from the farm and there it is. This thing is an absolute monster. I did forget to name it though, so that's going to be another 16 levels now. Day 194, I wanted to get enough XP to name my sword, so trading with the villagers sorted me out pretty quick. After naming it, I converted it to Netherite. This thing will absolutely destroy the wither. While I waited for day 200 where I would battle the wither, I started creation of a melon farm. For days 195 to 199, that was all I did. Wait for melons to grow, turn them into seeds, and expand the farm. The reason I did this was because my villagers don't only buy 1 pumpkin for 1 emerald, they also buy 1 melon for 1 emerald. This meant I could double my emerald output with a melon farm. But now it's time for what you've all been waiting for, the wither fight. This was my inventory before the fight. I was literally going in with every potion imaginable and an insane amount of healing. I even had 2 extra totems with me so that if my first one broke, I had backups. I headed down into my mine to spawn the boss, and we're actually going to cut to some live commentary. Okay. Strength. Okay, why are you going up there? Good. Come on. Back. Alright, come here. Nice. Come on. Die! Please! Die! Let's go! Oh my god. Give me that nether star. After emerging victorious over the wither, I headed home to decide where I wanted to place my beacon. I eventually chose to put it next to the villager hall. As I headed up to place the beacon atop its emerald pedestal, I couldn't help but think how far I'd come in this world. All the way from day 100 struggling for food to day 200 with the wither defeated. Even after so many close calls with death, I still stood firm in hardcore Minecraft. That's going to be it for the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. This video took over 50 hours to record and edit, so if you can help me out by dropping a like, maybe even subscribing, it would really mean a lot. If you guys want to see 300 days, let me know down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to do it if you guys want to see it. Also, I'm thinking of making a Discord server because I hit 2k subs, so let me know if you're interested in that. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently. It's been absolutely insane. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.